first come into the team, you're a young kid, you didn't play loads, so you get a bit of a free hit. The last 6-7 months, he's the big boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Marco Moretti Show. We have had quite the season turnaround, and it all started with his performance and hat-trick away at Napoli. Yes, the season turnaround, largely thanks to Marco Moretti, has been unbelievable, and we've won 11 games in a row. It shows how tight the league is, because we haven't exactly shot up the league. We're up to 7th, but look how tight things are now. Marco Moretti, having the season of his life, now has 15 goals in 19 matches and 12 in 12 starts in Serie A. And by looking at his recent form, you can see that unbelievable goal explosion. And it was timely too, because Esposito has been suffering with a few injuries and hasn't been as prolific as he was last season, although playing really well. Our great streak has just been ended by a tight away defeat to Inter Milan, but with only 2 Champions League matches in that run, you can see the difference not playing every 3 days has made to our team. That takes me back to the finances. As you can see up there, 32 million, we are rolling in it. We are rolling in it. And we didn't exactly break the bank in the summer, did we, with transfers of 7.5 million on 2 players?
Non c'è stata quest'anno perché non sono arrivate proposte da parte della società.
The January transfer window started interestingly, to say the least, with the board wanting to see me about offering to increase the transfer budget. Hell yeah. The outcome of the meeting was they almost double it to nearly £10 million. But on the flip side, the pressure to keep Rizzo increases, with Real Madrid determined to make him their number 2 goalkeeper. So this is the player we've got in for at the minute, Slevotan Grubic. Now, he's a midfielder, but I think he can easily be retrained. He's only 19, and fingers crossed we can get this over the line, because he's got passing, technique, vision, first touch is outrageous. He's only 5'7", but that doesn't bother me. He could be an absolute beauty of a playmaker. And here's what's interesting about this move. I was bidding for him and I went up to 13.5 million with instalments, still got rejected. So I asked my board to intervene. They've taken over and they've had the bid accepted. Now at the time, they only had given me 4 million to spend. When I made the request for Grubic, they then came back at me with this. So that's maybe triggered something in your club, if you're well off, that they can give us an extra transfer budget by asking them to take over a transfer. At the minute, the season overall is going pretty well, so we know where we are in the league. We're 8th, but we're just behind the Champions League spots. In the hunt, in the Champions League, we're in the top 8 at the minute. We've got a couple of games left, which are tough, but at the minute it looks like we're going to qualify. And in the Coppa Italia, it's quarterfinals, and it's going to be a toughie against AS Roma. And if you look at the teams left in it, yeah, that's going to be a brute of a competition to win. It's probably time to check in on the chosen ones. Let's see how they are doing. As you can see, they're in the team. Not all of them are fit though. Yaya's actually away at the Cup of Nations. He's not back until February. The much maligned Di Marino is actually playing pretty well. He's had injury problems, but he seems to be over them, and he's starting to hit a bit of form, 6.94, on the back of a good run prior to that. However, his contract's up and he won't sign a new one. So I'm unsure what to do here, because I quite like to get rid of him in a weird way, but I'm also quite attached to him. Kalina's definitely hit his peak. He's been around this level for ages now. His attributes are kind of up and down, but this is his level. And he's had a bit of an uptick, because now he's valued at a decent player for Serie A. Great season last season for Sulaj. This season, injuries have got in the way and he's been a bit inconsistent. You can see the difference between this and last season. We need more from him. New role at the minute for Ruti Galeano. Bless his heart, I move him around the pitch all over the place, but he's having a decent little season. At the minute, I'm playing him on the left, which is where Condello used to play, but at the minute, I'm playing Condello on the right because I need Moretti to play up front because he's just been electric. Speaking of Condello, not his greatest season so far. No goals in the league, only 2 assists. I mean, they're doing okay, that's what I'd say. They're doing okay. But now, the big news. It might be happening. All that work we've put into the facilities, constantly making board requests. We've been constantly making board requests for better facilities. We've had a preview of our youth intake, and for the first time in I don't know how long, the preview says excellent intake. And the good news is, goalkeeper, great prospect, fullbacks, and it looks like 2 of them, centre-backs and central midfielders, all highly rated. Now folks, as you know, this could all change and it could turn into a pretty mediocre one, but the preview says it's going to be good, and this is big news for us. Because if Rizzo was to leave, we might have a ready-made replacement. We might have replacements for fullbacks. We might have brand new chosen ones. And we haven't had homegrown players of this level since Moretti and since Sulaj, and it's been a long few years since that happened. Like Sulaj came through in 2023, 24, only started getting in the team probably in 26, 27, so we're now in the year 2032, so we've had to be really patient on this one. After all that hype, Rubic rejects £14,000 a week to join us. And that stings a bit considering he's on £3 a week at the minute. Whether we go back for him or not, I'm not sure. It was looking like Rizzo's mind was on Madrid. That's a shocker against Saka. In the Champions League, we succumbed to a 4-1 defeat at Arsenal, but as you can see, the scoreline flattered them quite a lot. But we are back to those games every 3 days, and it's taken its effect already. My scouts had came up trumps in Argentina. They'd found me this youngster, Matteo Lewin. He looks like a really good fullback, potentially to replace Parejo if we lose him. I'm going to bang him on the shortlist for now. I would have made a move for him now, but I want to see how these 2 fullbacks are going to look when we get them through. And then despite completely battering Roma in a Serie A dress rehearsal for the quarterfinals, we lose again. We got back to winning ways in the Champions League against Benfica, and that put us through to the last 16, finishing above teams such as Real Madrid, PSG and Liverpool. Alvarez wasn't happy at the lack of games, and it's pretty mad considering he is by far our best centre-back, but because of the chosen ones rule, he's not playing much. And with deadline day approaching, loads of clubs were sniffing around Esposito. And he does have a minimum fee release clause, which is a bit of a worry. So I did something that would appease him a little bit. And it seemed to work. With a man of the match performance in a smashing of Sampdoria, for the second half of that match, he played up front with his big brother.
Se sono qua devo tanto anche a loro perché mi hanno dato una grande opportunità.